Hey everybody, my name is Aaron Bach. I am the host of Journals Out Loud, the show that you're watching right now. Today's topic is masturbation.
Woo!
So that'll be real fun.
Why'd you do the hand motion, really?
Yes.
Wow, we're just getting straight into it, aren't we, huh?
Yes.
So first of all, the questions today came from askjenny.tumblr.com, which is where you can go if you want your questions answered by us or by Jenny. You can also hit us up on Twitter, Journals Network. That's our name. And everyone here in this room
masturbates.
yes.
Pretty
and
much.
I'm going to name you. I'm going to name all of these masturbators. Sorry. Josh.
Yeah.
Hi. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Danya.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys.
Dominique.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Taylor.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you.
And welcome to you, dear viewer and or listener. So, first question. I am 16 and I have a hard time believing that other girls actually masturbate because no one ever talks about it. My friends seem too innocent. I feel like I'm dirty and wrong. How do I feel better about it?
Keep doing your thing. Keep
Yeah.
masturbating.
First of all,
No,
you're
first
not
of all,
dirty
right.
and wrong. And we were
No.
just saying not enough people talk about
Even
this.
at our age. So it's
Yeah.
not going to change. People just don't want to talk about it. I don't know why, but
It's a natural part of life.
It
absolutely.
is. Well, I mean, I'm sure I think this is me being a bad religion person. I think it's against certain people's religions. And if that's the case, like, all power to you.
Yeah.
It's not against my religion. That's what it is. So yeah, I don't think enough people talk about it, especially female masturbation. I feel like guys, it's like a lot of jokes, like jerking off. But like girls, it's like when I say
They
it,
just
people
don't
are
talk
like,
about it.
"You masturbate?"
Yeah, I feel like
What?
there's like a stigma with girls masturbating. Like
I know.
it's weird. Like you guys can't talk about it as much as guys talk about.
and
it.
I
Like,
do.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, I think the thing of her saying, like, my friends seem too innocent, like, those are the ones that really do it.
Exactly.
But honestly, it's not about being innocent or being bad or being wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I look at it this way. You need to know what you like with your body in
Yup.
order
Yeah.
to tell somebody else what you like them to do to your body.
Yeah.
So I think the best way to find that out is to explore.
Right, and it
And
doesn't
try
have
it
to be
out.
dirty. It's like
No.
it's like an intimate thing with
You're
yourself.
getting to know yourself.
I remember the first time I remember the first time I masturbated.
You remember?
I'm not kidding. I
I
do.
can't remember the first time.
Yeah, I can't remember.
So long.
I literally
ago.
like got so after I said out loud, I was like, "Who needs guys?" Like I said,
That's
my
Wow,
life
that's
has
powerful.
changed.
That is
awesome.
powerful.
I got plenty of stories for you.
Damn.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
That's
But
accurate.
that's a great point, right? Like it is an intimate moment with yourself, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that.
No?
No.
Absolutely.
Now you feel bad about it, which is probably why you don't talk about it, which also maybe why they don't talk about it, right? Like you got to think about maybe there's kind of like a big cyclical thing going on there, and if no one talks about it, how are you supposed to think that it's okay? So I get that, and that's a really common issue. You're not alone in feeling the way that you do, but as we have already been hearing today, like you're not alone. Like
No.
people do this,
We're with you.
and I think the guys in the room here probably do it too, right? Raise your hand if you do it. All right. Okay. That's the guys in the room. So I don't know if you saw that on camera, but yeah, it's all of us
Our
here.
tech guys raise their hand.
And the tech guys, yes. This is something that I think you'll find in a big survey of people, not just in America but around the world, very common. Even if
Yeah.
people don't admit it, even if people don't like talking about it.
I think the advice to give also is to just own it. I think you're saying like your friends don't talk about it, which is fine, but maybe they're waiting for that one person that's going to be brave enough to bring it up as a topic of conversation. And then they
Right.
can all be
Right.
like, oh my God, me too. And then you open up a can of worms.
Also, it's like, why
literally-
is it bad? Why is it so? Why do we? I don't know. This is probably like a big historical talk. I'm not ready for, but like, I don't know why we do shame it in our culture. Of like, we don't shame as much of like having sexual partners as much as like pleasuring yourself.
Pleasuring yourself.
Did
yeah.
you masturbate today?
Twice.
Good job.
Thank you.
Did you
Dominic.
masturbate today?
I did not today.
Well, good job anyways for
Oh, thanks.
attempting.
Right,
That's the thing.
but
We
good
don't-
job for having a conversation about
Exactly.
it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
talking
Right.
about it.
Because like obviously you don't need to share this stuff if you don't feel comfortable sharing
Yeah,
this stuff,
you
but
don't.
you both did feel comfortable
Right.
sharing that
Yeah.
stuff, and that means that you are at peace with it,
I
right?
think just owning it and like I said, opening that conversation, because I've had conversations with some of my girlfriends. I remember one of the first conversations we had talking about it where none of us brought it up, and then finally one of us was like,
And
hey.
it was like, oh my God, same.
Somebody was talking about masturbating. Do you do it? And then it was like, yeah. And then it was like, oh my God, me too. And then it was a full conversation about one of them never having done it
Yeah.
and being 20 plus something years old. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like you've never played with yourself?
And it's not even like a shame if you didn't do it. Like that's not
Right.
bad either.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
not bad
I actually
either.
I know someone who's never done it and never, as far as I know, will.
and that's fine.
And that's totally
Each their
okay.
own.
Yeah,
because
to each their own, for sure.
it wasn't a hang up. It wasn't something that they felt bad about. It's just like, that's not for me.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
the same way
that's
that person might feel about maybe drugs or alcohol. I wouldn't put them all in the same category,
That's
but
true.
if you do that's your choice.
Meanwhile, I'm over here like, you can't judge chocolate cake if you've never had it.
Yeah.
Like, that's my mentality. I'm like, I
Right.
feel like you should always just try something once.
Chocolate
Just
cake's
to
well,
say,
good.
I mean, if we're talking
just
about
say you tried it. You know what I
that
mean?
could get into some. I mean, chocolate cake's not harmful, but you know, drugs.
Right.
No, yeah, of course. But like,
Yes, and that's something
Well,
too.
what kind of chocolate cake were we talking about?
and
'Cause,
and the question of harmfulness in relation to masturbation is something we'll get to as one of the questions.
Right.
But just right off the bat, I wouldn't worry too much as a teaser. So first of all, you also mentioned innocence, right? In regards to masturbation, I don't see a relation between those two things. Do you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think it depends on what you
I
mean.
look innocent right now.
Okay, let's get the shot going. Oh, all right. There's quite
got
an
the
image
crowd.
going on there.
Yeah.
And do you feel innocent?
Yeah.
All right. And are you innocent?
Probably not.
Well, but you also might be, because
So
guess what?
mysterious.
There is no one definition of innocence.
No.
I mean, like, I think
No,
if you
yeah,
asked
what does that
everyone,
mean?
if you asked everyone in this room about what the word innocence means outside of like a legal context, I think we'd all have a different explanation. And
Yeah.
I think that that's very telling, because if you have an equal number of opinions about one thing in a room of not that many people, odds are there's no real consensus, and it's probably something that we made up.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's something to keep in mind as well. So next question, real quick. I'm 18 and I masturbate multiple times a day, yet I don't enjoy it, and I get this huge wave of guilt that hits me afterwards, making me feel worse. I feel I'm using it to compensate for the fact that I'm a bit of a loner. It's gotten to the point where I'm thinking about just giving up my virginity first chance I get.
Oh.
Do you have
Oh,
advice?
Ooh,
Interesting.
that's a kind of a rough one, kind of.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
feel.
it's like it's hard when they're mixing,
Being lonely. or
giving
being a
lonely
loner.
masturbation.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're using anything as a fill to be alone, I think that's when it's unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Right.
not just for masturbation, that's drugs, that's alcohol, that's any eating, that it's
True, yeah.
self-medication, right?
yeah, too much of anything and for the wrong reasons. If it's not pleasing you,
Mm-hmm.
then that's not good. And also I wouldn't just first chance you get just give away your virginity,
Because that's special.
and you
Yeah.
might not be happy about that too. I mean, yeah, it doesn't have to be special either if you want to.
Yeah.
If you're cool
Yeah.
with that.
I
think
definitely.
wait until the right moment. I don't think you should go shopping it around.
Well,
Just
'cause,
like
like-
waiting to give it up. I think just wait until the moment, presents itself. And if
Yeah.
you feel like, okay, this is the right time for me, this is okay, then go for it. But don't go
Yeah,
looking for it per se.
Yeah.
That's a great point, because like whether or not virginity is special, I mean, like, I know what my personal opinion about that is, and I know also what many other people's opinion about that is. But that's irrelevant to this situation. You've already made it clear to us that you feel a certain way about it by the way you phrased it, right? You don't relish the thought of it being something meaningless and whatever, but you're like, I should just do it to get it over with. If that's the way you feel, then I'm going to agree with you. I think that probably you should wait until it feels more appropriate, because right now I'm not getting a sense of appropriateness.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me, like I was in health class, we did talk about like hormones and everything. And from a physiological, I think that's the right word, right?
yeah.
Perspective.
Totally.
I can only speak on the male portion because I don't really know about the female portion. But after you're done masturbating, there's like a hormone that's released in the male system that causes you to be disinterested in sex.
It makes you really hungry.
And okay,
Interesting.
maybe you.
I get
I didn't get that.
hungry.
I don't
I
get
get
that.
like,
But
that's made
it
me get really
is
hungry.
responsible for a lot of like feeling of guilt from what I've learned through like studying in classes and everything, and it also, the more you masturbate, the more of that hormone is in your system, and you could be this could be a hormonal imbalance
That's
like
That's
interesting.
as
true,
well.
yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to relate to, like you said, being alone or all these other things. If it is, it's unhealthy.
Right.
But at the same time, this also could be something to do with your hormones. I know I've like in high school, when my body's dealing with all that, it's releasing more hormones, more things.
Right.
And I definitely experienced guilt, but that was full on, like my doctor said, it was because of the hormones.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
because
Okay.
of like anything like else.
I also think the feeling of guilt, going back, like I know when I first started masturbating when I was younger, I kind of had like that feeling of guilt after, because not for any particular reason, but I almost felt like what I was doing was wrong.
Well, here,
because that's the stigma.
Here's a question.
That is a
Yeah.
stigma
Did
for
you
sure.
really how old are you, and did you know what you were doing?
I didn't exactly know what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like you get to that point when you're older and you realize, okay, this doesn't feel good. This feels better. Whatever. We're not going to go technical. But
It's not that I'm necessarily going
think-
for the specifics of like,
yeah.
did you know what you were doing? But like,
Yeah.
did you know generally like what it was that you were
generally I
doing?
knew what it was.
Okay.
And I
yeah.
think that's where the guilt came after, because there was a stigma that, you know, like you said, like some people have it for religious purposes. I don't know if that's where mine subconsciously came because I grew up Catholic. But maybe that's what it was, where I kind of feel like, ooh, like maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Is this bad? And then it was like getting older. I was like, it's fine. Like whatever. For me, I was like, it's fine. It's whatever. This is normal. If I want to know how I want somebody else to make me feel, I should know how I want to make myself feel. That's how I looked at it.
And have the capability to just make yourself feel good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Helps me sleep. Helps me be a happier person.
Well,
Really does.
Sometimes it keeps me awake. Like I'm
Shit,
laying in
dog.
bed at like 1 a.m. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll masturbate.
like
And
I
then
don't have anything else to do.
and I lay back down. I'm like, oh, man, now I'm hungry. And then I eat, and then I eat a bunch of food, and then I can't sleep. So it makes me awake.
Prepare for what?
Yeah, you're like
Interesting.
Weird.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very
I,
interesting.
I've never heard the food thing. Like,
Like, I get
Feed
home.
the
I mean, I've heard that
It's-
after like having
it's a
sex.
phenomenon.
yeah, like that part I understand, but the
I guess I
Well,
work
You
up a
burned a lot of
sweat. yeah.
calories.
but
Yeah.
but you know what? As long as that's not unhealthy, then that's okay. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
everyone has a different experience,
Just
and that's
take
fine.
your Fitbit off so it doesn't count that as miles. You know?
Oh,
Yeah.
or
yeah, I
or
did
leave
have
it
a lot of
on.
miles the other day. so-
or leave it on so you can lie to yourself about how much you walk.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the final question. How much is too much masturbation for a single guy without sexual partners?
The
There's
limit
none.
does not exist.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it's just not exist.
Well,
There's no
wait a
limit.
second. Hang on a
I don't
second.
know. I don't know
Until you can't
scientifically.
like release, then I guess that's the
Well,
I
limitation.
also think, not to cut it off, but like I also think there has to be a balance with anything that you do, because
True.
ultimately the last thing that you want to happen, and I'm only bringing this up because recently I had a guy tell me the situation that he has, where when he does have sex, he finds that he can't finish with a female.
Don
He can't
John.
finish. He just can't finish, and it's because he's gotten in his mind that himself, it feels so good on himself, and he watches porn and all these other things. That's a whole nother conversation.
That,
but
yeah.
that he's kind of made it in his mind that that's what he likes, and he can't do it with like finish with a girl, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I think everything has to be in balance. Like I wouldn't say I don't think there's a number on it. I think it's different for each person, and as long as it's not getting in the way of like your daily activities.
Yeah.
yeah.
And have you seen Don John?
Mm-mm.
It's with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is,
yeah.
The movie's
I saw the
legit
commercial,
about how he masturbates to porn all the time, and he's like, I can't get off when
I
I
actually took a lesson from him because he says he doesn't touch himself until he gets aroused from a video. So he goes through all these videos and he watches them all and he's like, I choose the right one that gets me going, but I don't touch myself until I get to that point.
Well,
And so now that's what I do.
oh, that's great, Tom.
Yeah.
But I was just saying that, like, I don't want to give away the ending, but like through it, he found that like emotional connection was
Is
what
more
brought him
valuable,
back
yeah.
to like orgasm. I guess
Yeah.
that's So I think balance with everything, but don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted
It
to say at
could
the
be strange.
beginning,
Oh, yeah, don't
right?
hurt
Like,
yourself.
it's totally possible to be too rough on yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
like,
in high
like-
school. Yeah.
Oh.
That's probably what. Well, not personal experience. I don't know.
Okay.
Just
I was
get
gonna
angry
say,
at
ow.
your teachers and
Well,
You
no,
take
I've
it
heard
out
like
and
there was
just-
a friend who just
Oh.
like got rug burn and stuff like that.
Ooh.
horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think too much of anything isn't good. It's all about balance.
It is all about balance. And something that you said earlier that I'm going to just wrap this up with, which I think is a great point, is basically there's not necessarily a limit, but there is certainly a time where it gets in the way of your life, right? Like if it gets in the way of your life, of your responsibilities, of your relationships, at that point, no doubt, like regardless of like how rough you're being on yourself, like that is an impediment to the rest of your life. And that is when you've taken it too far. And then of course there's the rug burn situation, which
Try to
sounds,
avoid.
yes, please avoid
No.
that. Yes, that's if you take anything away today, please avoid self-induced rug burn. And on that note,
That's what we want.
thank you all for being
takeaway.
open and honest, and thank you for writing in with your questions. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments. Please hit us up on Twitter. Please hit us up on askjenny.tumblr.com, which is where we get most of our questions. Thank you for watching. Stick around for the next one.